Evening, you wild roving band of questers on the road to the Stone of Destiny. I'm here to drop in with you all for a revolution report. It's been a little bit since we've done one of those, and I felt like it was a really good way to kick off the year, and especially with what we got coming through for the collective. And then I had the dawning. It was a dawning on my mind that got me looking at things in a more expansive way. And I thought how fitting as we prepare this month, at the end of the month, we're going to be moving into that dawning of the age of Aquarius when Pluto finally goes direct into Aquarius. And I thought, I've been trying to figure out all this time, how do I make the quests fit in here at Broad Coven? Like, I never planned on doing anything like this. It's something that just came in as I started to move in this direction. It happened rather spontaneously, and that's how I know it's something I'm supposed to do, because everything that is supposed to happen that's aligned with my path, that's aligned with my Tao, is all about what happens of its own accord, just naturally, because it aligns with my energy, aligns with my frequency. And this came in like a thunderbolt for me. And there's just like, I have to do this, but how do I make it fit here? And then I realized, oh, everybody here is on the quest. There's no need to keep any of it separate, because everybody who's here is drawn to this frequency, and quite spontaneously, they're drawn on the quest for the Stone of Destiny. So I think everybody that's aligned here at Broad Coven right now is a forward thinker, an open-minded individual that is on the road to finding their sense of purpose and meaning and passion in life. We're all looking for that destiny. We're all looking to grow, to alchemically transform, to transform our lives and hopefully make a difference in the world around us as well by how we show up, what we contribute, what that looks like. You're obviously, somebody who is willing to explore, that is drawn to that something other, the great mystery of life, which none of us can really define. You're probably also a bit of a spiritual psychonaut, in the sense that you're trying to drop your BS, you're trying to drop your belief systems, you're trying to get a more expansive view, not only of the world, but of yourself. And so I said, fuck it. We're just going to be all questing all the time. And right now, we're going after the fourth jewel of the TUATHA de DANNAN, which is Leofoil, or the Stone of Destiny. And yeah, I mean, aren't we all on that journey? We're about to head into the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We're all stepping into the brand new. It's time to evolve. We're all caught up in that revolutionary energy. What does it look like going forward, not only in our personal lives, but as a global community? There's a lot rocking and rolling. There's a lot more to come. There's a lot that is shifting right now. And at the same time, there's so much creativity and innovation coming forward, and a lot of different views, and people are more prone to like kind of figure out how can we get on the same page right now, which I think that alone is awesome, super awesome. We've been needing that to happen for a long time. So I'm really thrilled with that particular development myself, just to see people thinking on a more kind of like communal level, where it's not just about like what's going on in my little world, but how is that rippling out? How is it affecting the greater whole? So this is progress. I mean, and we got to take our wins where we can get them. I'm just going to kind of open this up with talking about the I Ching casting I got for us, because that's how we roll here when we do a revolution report. We try to look at how can we get ourselves in alignment with the Tao. The Tao is just another way of saying the way, man. Okay, so don't get attached to any ideology about that. It's just it's that unnameable path that we're all on, just as human beings having the human experience. So how can we move the most harmoniously with that? How can we be in harmony with nature itself? Because nature is the fundamental ground of being, of our physical experience here. So the more that we can move in harmony with nature, the better things turn out to be for us. And we can learn a lot by studying nature. noticing how nature responds to the changes, to the flow of chaos, which is just a natural part of life. So it's pointless to resist it. It's the creative force. Okay. So I thought it was really interesting what we got. We're opening up with a bang. Okay. And it's just so perfect in alignment with the stone of destiny, which really requires us to go on this journey of transformation where we are facing the different obstacles within ourselves. The first starting out with the chase of the hound toward the hare. So we're looking at really getting on the tail of what our fears are. What are those things that keep tripping us up? And there's a lot we can look at with hair medicine. I'm going to bring something in later this week about hair medicine, what that looks like, how to work hair medicine. But it does have to do with the way we can call our fears to us. It also has to do with being in a rush sometimes, right? Being in a rush to see things we want to see grow. We think of that fertility concept with the hair, okay? A little bit of blocking energy. We just moved out. Just about to. I know we're right about there. But you know, there's always the post shadow. So it's been a time, and there's still the blocking energy out there. But we'll find our way around that which tries to thwart us on the way to our destiny. We're not going to be intimidated. We're in it to win it, man. But we got hexagram 31 to kick us off, which is Hsien, wooing. And I just thought, whoa, okay, because the action is to woo, all right, to court, you know, to draw in. And isn't that a fascinating way to start out the journey on the road to destiny? And I really feel like though we've tried to start this particular leg, it's been really kind of stop-start, and it still felt boggy, man. It still felt boggy, like we were still stuck in the cauldron of Dogda collectively, you know, just a little soppy and holding on to too much old stuff, man, that was weighing us down. And it's good because with this one, we got the Hugua, or the hidden influence, is coming to meet, encountering. All right. Now, I want to talk about this influence first. When we're looking at the hidden influence, this is what we're not aware of right now. So what we're not aware of right now is that something is coming to meet us. We are about to have an encounter. Now, when we're looking at this concept of wooing, this is what is very important to remember, and it ties directly into hair medicine, okay? When it comes to wooing and coming to meet is all about whatever your focus is currently coming to meet you. So it's important at this point to look at, what are you focused on? Are you noticing, like, throughout the day where your mind tends to go? What is the nature of your general disposition right now? Do you feel positive? Do you feel optimistic? Do you feel frustrated? Are you angry? Are you still looking back at things that pissed you off back there? Okay, that is what your focus is. So it's really important to start getting in touch with, what's my experience right now? Just where am I at? And not in a judgmental way, but just in a way of understanding, like, sort of what's your homeostasis, you know, what is the program you're consistently running, because that is what is coming to meet you right now. All right. Now, for a lot of you, this is happening in the area of a soulmate. Okay, very front and center. And your soulmate doesn't have to be just a romantic soulmate, although naturally, when we're looking at the art of wooing, that does bring in certain romantic connotations, but it can also be the way we romanticize situations. Okay, so be aware of this too. Be aware of this too. Bottom of the deck energy. Look at this. Yes, the way we romanticize situations. 10 of hearts in the shadow. Okay, this is like not looking at things necessarily from a very honest standpoint. Let's just say that honesty is when you can just greet something, whatever comes to meet you, as it is, without putting all the little frills on it. Okay, just looking at it undressed up, we do see something is coming our way. There's definitely something coming to meet us, all right? But it's important that we recognize it for what it is, okay? And we may not actually be in a place where we are viewing this even as a possibility at this time to have some sense of fulfillment, just have some sense of happiness, okay? And if that is sort of the shadow you're putting over something before it has the opportunity to even arrive and get on the scene and show you what, you know, it brings to the table, and then you can decide what you're working with there. You know, you may already be anticipating that there's no hope of this, but something is coming towards you. All right. You can't see it right now. It is hiding in the shadows. All right. But it is a 10 of hearts. This is a fulfillment, a deep emotional fulfillment. And when it comes in, it's going to come in quickly. All right. Very quickly. 8 of clubs, very fast moving energy. Clubs energy hits a little different than a wand. It has a little more oomph to it. You know what I'm saying? So this comes in with a bang, all right? And when this thing comes towards you, whether it's a soulmate or it's some kind of family dynamic, all right? Or some kind of friendship dynamic or some kind of business opportunity, all right? It's something where it aligns you with a person or other people who are important on your path, on your road to destiny. I look at that number 10, I think a Capricorn. I think a Capricorn, and I automatically think of the cardinal cross because right now we do have that cardinal action going on very, very strongly, all right? We have Aries in the north node. We have Libra in the south node. And when I think of Capricorn, I think of its normal position, which Capricorn would be in the north, which is that earth element that is associated with the direction of north and the stone of destiny. So this is like the actualization of the fulfillment of that north node, that destiny. There's something coming in. It's coming towards you. All right. You can't see it yet. It's a hidden influence. And right now it's important to really look at what is your focus right now, because whatever your focus is gives you a little clue about what's coming towards you. So now would be the real moment when you might want to do a little mental cleansing, you know, if you're still running some kind of BS that's going to keep you on this track where, you know, you're not able to move forward. This can keep you on a loop where you keep focusing on how you got all those spears stabbed in your back there and, you know, who did it and why, and get into this sort of self-defensive posturing too, where you expect more of the same. So you go around like with this big wall of fire up in front of you, and then you wonder, why isn't anything coming my way? Well, it doesn't want to get burned, man. Okay. I mean, and this is in the negative. Okay. This is like big time grudge energy, you know, just staying stuck on this point of where things went foul back there. And that doesn't provide any kind of growth. You know, a lot of you, you're dealing with stuff, you know, that happen online. All right. Or it's in your face all the time when you're online, or something's going to come to light online that might rub a little salt in that wound. You know what I'm saying? All 10 of those wounds in your back, right? This is something to be aware of here. It might make you remember why you feel so sour about a certain someone. Maybe there's something that needs to be discussed here too, okay? Something needs to be brought to light. We do see there's a legitimate opportunity for something moving forward here. And when we look at the Ace of Diamonds, we see that this is a seed to plant on the way to our stone of destiny, all right? To activating that north node. But this is what's at play here. We got 7 of Spades energy. This is tricky, tricky, tricky energy. We've been tricked before. We don't want to be fooled again. Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. You know, it makes me think of that hair. And this is about looking at things in a new way. Can you unfuck yourself? Can you stop thinking that everybody's out to trick you, deceive you, and simultaneously negate your own inner authority to be totally in touch and aligned with your intuition at all times. Like, why have so much fear and defensiveness? All you have to do is respond to things spontaneously. Let them show up as they are. You'll know if it's an energetic match or not. Why do you negate your own personal authority and empowerment? It doesn't make sense, okay? So, nobody can get away with anything on you. You know what you know when you know it. It feels right or it doesn't. Simple. Okay, so you don't need to fear something coming towards you. And when we put too much fear in front of what may come toward us, we can work ourselves into a position where we actually sabotage ourselves, If something that could be really good. All right. But the key here is, even if you're dealing with somebody coming towards you where maybe, I'm not saying it doesn't look too pretty here. Something ended really harshly, probably because some kind of like, somebody did something kind of sneaky behind your back. It felt deceptive. It might have gone on online, You're still a little pissed about it, But the thing is that there's things that you don't know about this situation, all right? This could have to do with a fire sign energy. We got King of Clubs here, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We do have Aries in the North Node. Again, ooh, I might have to repeat that because that fell out there, so that's significant. Don't get stuck in your story of how things went down, because there's more characters in this story than just you, right? This is an important piece. And with this, it's that thing where it's like, you can attract a better outcome, right? You can attract a better outcome if you are more in this space of trying to look for a win-win solution that can bring everything together, rather than just thinking about how you're feeling. Now, naturally, some of you are coming into alignment with soulmate, This is somebody who's really pivotal on your path. And actually, not just some of you, there's actually a lot of you that are, you're ending chapters so you can come into alignment with a new group of soulmates, actually. One of these, or, depending on how you roll, one of these may be, a romantic partner, like somebody that feels like it's kismet. You're supposed to come together with this person. It's an energetic match. I'm getting a lot of sentience with that, and I do feel there are a lot of that, a lot of those kind of connections being made coming in here, especially with the dawning of the age of Aquarius, because it feels almost like soulmate energy that's coming together, because there's something you are meant to create together, okay? And that doesn't just apply romantically, can it? Certainly, but it's also creative partnerships, okay? And it's teacher-student partnerships, it's spiritual mentoring partnerships. I mean, there's something that's coming in that's a catalyst on your path, and it's very much in alignment with your destiny. It's a key. And you're kind of making prejudgments right now without getting a whole lay of the land and understanding what's really ahead, all right? So it's interesting because the Zhonghua, the underlying cause of influence wooing, is decrease, evaluate, okay? So again, we know there was something that ended. There's something that's been rough. There's been something that's kind of got you stuck in a loop. You keep looking at this thing, it's still there. It's what you're focusing on. So realizing it or not, you're currently manifesting what's coming to meet you. So if you're in this place where you're really focusing on betrayal, or you're really focusing on your anger, or you're really focusing on a particular person and how they did this, that, the other, then you're kind of, that's what you're wooing. You're calling that to you. Wooing is a way to have influence, okay? So what you're focusing on right now is influencing what's coming to meet you, right? So this is why it's important to get kind of like a whole lay of the land and understand that that land and what sprawls out before you on your path is first created within the landscape of your emotional reality, your mental reality, and the actions you're taking, because you have to understand that your mental, your emotional, your spiritual landscape absolutely affects the actions you take. It affects how you show up, it affects how you move, and it thereby affects what comes to meet you or chooses not to come to meet you because you got a chip on your shoulder, or you don't seem approachable, or you're very angry, okay, and then you wonder why things are stuck or why nobody wants to come your way. Just say it. So all of these things are important, and we have to understand the role that we play in that, okay? Now, we did have two moving lines, so I like to see this. We don't have stagnancy, right? We're in a positive flow of movement, and I like the movement that we're in collectively, okay? We do need to focus just a little bit more on, our own personal empowerment rather than needing the empowerment that is bestowed upon us by others. In other words, well, I feel empowered because so-and-so's on the same page as me. I feel empowered because so-and-so desires me too. You know what I'm saying? It's about really just feeling empowered in and of yourself, because when you feel empowered in and of yourself, you're able to be like a free agent, okay? You just respond independently and spontaneously to whatever shows up on your path or whoever shows up on your path. You don't have any like contrived experiences because you don't have an agenda. You're not moving through life like that. You're moving just within your own sphere of power and influence, and you're focusing on what you'd like to create more of in your own life and in the world around you, okay? And you stay focused on that in a way that is in harmony with the Tao. So in other words, in harmony with nature, which, what does that mean? Nature doesn't push back. That's not what nature does. Nature doesn't push back. Nature works in harmony. It's very much a dance of ebb and flow. At one time, something takes the lead, and another time, nature lets go and gives over. And it's the same way with us in our relationships, on our paths. And in order to be in touch with that, you have to be centered in your own power, within your own agency, like in touch with your inner barometer. Like, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Where's the energy pulling me in my life right now? And if you're kind of just like phoning it in and you're not really showing up and staying connected to your experience, which your experience begins internally first before it even begins to manifest externally, then you're going to find things really kind of like going awry, or not understanding, or blaming and pointing the finger at other people and saying, well, they're the reason that this is so. When really it's like, well, no, you're not being mindful about how you're moving through life. You're not standing in your power. You're not having any kind of focus. You're just sort of like, along for the ride, without any kind of vision, without any kind of connectivity to it. And then you wonder why other people have so much power in their life, because there are people that have very set focuses. And some people have really negative focuses or very selfish focuses. So it's kind of hard to turn that tide in a positive way if you're just going to let yourself be sort of like swept up in that. You have to create your own frequency. You have to create your own wave, okay, to ride. And then as you create your own wave, your own frequency, and you actively manage that through the choices you make, through what you allow in your environment, through how you show up, through what you focus on day to day, then you start to notice like, whoa, wait, other things that are in harmony with this frequency are showing up. That's how you get different things to come to meet you. So this is really a central point. I did want to talk about these two moving lines. So we had the first two moving lines in the first two positions of the lower trigram. And the lower trigram is that of Kin, the mountain. Okay, so mountain is usually about standing still, standing strong. I mean, I think the mountain, I think of the stone of destiny that they say is on the Mount of Tara. But what's really interesting is that I've been doing some more research, and recently, over the past year, it wasn't too long ago, a few months ago, somebody vandalized the Liafoil on the Mound of Tara in Ireland, and they spray painted fake on it, in really large capital letters all around. And, you know, they had to go through a big cleaning process with it. And I guess it's been a big problem for them in general over there. You know, there's been a lot of graffiti, but when I saw that, when I saw fake, I was like, I want to know more about this, you know. So I started to research more about the Stone of Destiny. And it does seem like it would be fake, because the Stone of Destiny is what the sovereign, the next to become king, would stand upon during coronation. And if you look at the Stone of Destiny that's on the Mound of Tara right now, I mean, it's this like almost phallic shaped thing. I mean, how the heck would a king stand atop that, you know, balancing, you know, precariously during the coronation? It doesn't even make sense. And so kind of the speculation is that it is still out there, and it probably would be something, you know, something low, something square, you know, and it would also have to be something that could be easily transported from place to place. So, you know, that current Stone of Destiny on the Mount of Tara is not, you know, it's not transportable. So they say it's probably buried out there. You know, they do feel it's still in that general area, but that it's still buried out there. And I thought that that was really interesting. And just as I said that, it's like the story, the history, it's buried out there, you know. Ooh, blockage. That's also like there's a lot hidden in this situation. And so when we're looking at the mountain, okay, we're thinking of that strength, that stability. There's some kind of disruption. There's like an earthquake. You know what I'm saying? There's something major going on. We actually just recently had an earthquake in Japan, right? Yep. Tsunami warnings and stuff. So there's a lot going on. Okay, a lot moving over there. But it can be disruptive, you know, when nature acts in that way because of held in tension for too long. And so then it moves ahead very rapidly like that. We do get something like a tsunami, or we get something like an earthquake. And so when we have two moving lines in that lower trigram of the mountain, it means we're moving, we're pushing against the tide. And this isn't really wise. Okay. So when I saw this, it made me understand why we kind of were held back a little bit, okay, with the Stone of Destiny, and why it sort of felt like, well, are we really getting there? It doesn't feel like we're really, I mean, we feel like we're kind of getting there, you know, in some respects. The energy does seem to have freed up a little bit, but there still has been that retrograde action of Mercury, and everything's been a little sloggy. There's still leftover sloggy from the cauldron of Dagda. So it made a lot of sense when I saw the meanings of these lines. The first line is a goal without movement changes to revolution. Okay. In other words, we have to be mindful, because if we do too much too soon without having all the information, then we can experience, you know, a tower. We can experience an earthquake. We can cause a lot of disruption. And it can be difficult because we feel this pent up energy. We feel that, like, I feel like something's about to happen. You know, something's about to happen. I can feel it. I can sense it. Like, I know, you know, this is just like the quiet, the pause before something big happens. And the collective is tapping into this energy. It's that same kind of like, you know, it's the tension. And this can sometimes make people just want to act, just to like relieve the tension. And so they do something very impulsively or recklessly, or only thinking about their position and their current understanding of a situation, when there's so much that remains to be seen. And so the guidance is easy, 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 easy. Wait, 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 wait. Hold up, wait a minute. There's something coming to meet you that's going to fill in those places where you're having those gaps. Okay. Very, very important. Very important. All right. And what causes the revolution? So we have this revolution energy. What does that mean? What causes the revolution? A change in outlook. So in other words, this came in recently on some reading I was doing. I can't remember for what sign. It came in for a few of the signs. But there's keys coming in that will help you unlock the right doors, you know. You don't want to just walk through any door at this point. It's almost like you have a key ring, you know, full of keys, and they could open up just about any door you want. You know, there's a big major karmic cycle that is in the process of getting totally closed up, you know. There may be the last remnants of it trailing behind you, but there's something here that is like, you can feel its pull, and it feels your pull too. Okay. This is like a magnetizing force. So, you know, be mindful of how you're focusing on that and where you're holding your intention, because this thing is coming in. And at the same time, you cannot greet this thing with any preconceived notion, because there's elements here that you are not aware of, and you need to wait for these pieces to come in before you act. Okay. So, you know, this is good. The revolution comes in the willingness to have a mental breakthrough and to wait, to hold off, to sort of also look at what is this feeling of agitation and unrest that has me wanting to just move impulsively or recklessly. What does this mean? You know, for me, what's coming up in me? Why the agitation? When I can just look at what's showing up right now and looking where the energy is aligning and put my focus there. This is really important, okay? And then we get to the second line, and the second line is influenced in the caps, misfortune, better to wait. It then changes to critical mass. Okay, so again, pointing to there needs to be more pieces of the puzzle to come in. Yes, this is the reason why you might be feeling that energy of the hair, like I just got to dart ahead real fast, or I might miss out. I might miss the boat. I might miss my opportunity. And this is faulty logic. Okay, this is faulty logic, because when you move into the place of really harmonizing with your own personal sense of empowerment, and where your energy is telling you to go, what your energy is telling you to do, as opposed to, you know, kind of taking on the projections of others around you, like thinking you're going to miss out on your destiny if you don't hurry up and do something, even though it feels reckless, lets you know you're not really making those choices from a place of personal empowerment, but you're worried about other people's choices around you intercepting your destiny. And nobody can intercept what is aligned with your life path. They just can't. So it's better to greet things in such a way where you focus on, you know, that state of what Rob Brunsny calls pronoia, you know, not paranoia, but pronoia. All of life is working for me. There's a way that there can be a win-win in this situation, where no matter how messy it looks, everybody gets what they need, you know, whatever you're grappling with right now that has your focus in the wrong place. And you can kind of like let go and give over to that and go, okay, you know, I don't need to worry about what turned out with so-and-so, and screw it. Okay, so what? So what if somebody did you really dirty? So what? Why do you want to keep focusing on that? Why do you want to keep feeding that energy? You know, because as long as you're feeding that energy, you're not fully here. You need to like bring that energy here, focus your energy on, okay, but what's showing up right now? And how do you feel about that? And where does it feel like the right place to go now? Forget about that. It doesn't matter right now. Do you want to keep meeting that same kind of scenario over and over again? Because you will. If we keep focusing on whatever happened back there, you're going to keep greeting that same scenario over and over again. And where we're looking at the collective destiny, it's the same thing. If we could just keep focusing on what doesn't work, then we continue to create more work for us to do because things stay broken instead of thinking how we can begin to mend things. Okay, but we're starting first with ourselves. And as we each start with ourselves, then collectively everything improves, right? The more people we have who are healed people, who are aware people, self-aware people, accountable people, present people, conscious people, you know, the better things are going to turn out for everybody on the face of the earth. So it's not selfish to begin here and to focus on your own sphere of influence and your own power that you're running and how you're running that. And that's what brings in the water energy. You probably hear, you know, Ted slurping back there. But the image of Hacian influence wooing, that hexagram 31, is a lake on a mountaintop. And what's interesting about that is we have the strong influence below and what's considered the more weak influence above, all right? And this means that in order to invite in that nurturing, you know, the strong is able to, you know, be still and kind of move with more sensitivity, to have an understanding that there is something here that is needing to be dealt with in a sensitive manner. All right, there is something here that does need to be looked at from a different angle, all right, that doesn't need to be rushed, that doing so can actually cause problems, because what naturally magnetizes to you is what is truly aligned with you. And that's why it's so much more beneficial to just hold an intention in your situation, even if it's something you're really struggling with. What if you, instead of trying to figure out how is this going to work out, or how can we all get on the same page, or I don't think they're ever going to see my point of view, whatever you may be dealing with here, what if instead you just kept your focus on, I don't need to worry about, that's where the block is. That's where the block is. You're struggling with it too much. You're struggling instead of just trusting. There will be a win-win situation here. Somehow, you know, things come out right in this situation. If I focus on what's before me, I listen to what I'm feeling, I'm aware of what I'm thinking, I'm aware of what I'm creating. These are all the blocks. These are where all the blocks are coming in. In order for us to find the way open and to have things flow harmoniously, we have to, as the master says, untangle the knots and soften the gaze. So that means stop looking at things, something so like intently, you know? Nothing can happen in that kind of a situation. Do you see what distraction that is too? There's a whole world going on around you right now in this moment. But if you're so fixated on something that you can't see beyond it, then there's no way to untangle the knots. That's how you work yourself up into this place of consternation. That's how you end up in this place of the Eight of Swords. You can't see another way forward. You're just like blindsided, okay? So there's a need to soften the gaze. In other words, stop fixating on this. Let's look at what's happening right now. What's happening right now? How are you feeling right now? What's going on right now? What's showing up right now? Because we know that what is in alignment with you is going to start to be magnetized towards you. And you do have a personal responsibility in that. Because if you're sitting here like this, you're drawing more of that to you. You're going to draw more puzzles, more things to be solved, more things that perplex you, more things to figure out. Whereas if you're just like, what's showing up here right now? I don't need to worry about that. You know, it is what it is. What happened, happened. I accept that. I know what I feel about it. Okay, I know my position. But there's nothing more to do with that right now. So you know what? That is what it is. And I'm just open. Okay, I trust that that's gonna work itself out in time. There's nothing I can do about that right now that feels right. All right. If it did, you would have already done it. So leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just stop trying to solve some riddle, you know, instead go, okay, I'm just going to be open. What's showing up right now? How am I feeling right now? What feels like the right step to take right now? And as you come into that place, those knots untangle because you're not so fixated on the problem. Everything solves itself when we're not thinking about it. The more you struggle to figure something out, the more bound up it becomes. It can't resolve. So this is kind of like getting that energy to move. And by doing that, you know, you also soften. Now, if you got a soulmate coming your way and they're wanting to work things out, you know, it's the same. Apply the same principles. Do you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you work everything up into knots. You got to soften your gaze. Like, look at this person with a little more compassion. All right. Look at the situation with a little bit more compassion. Look at yourself with a little bit more compassion. Just because somebody approaches you, maybe it's somebody you're not, you know, you're not sure if you want to talk to this person or how you feel about them approaching you. But I mean, you're already kind of predetermining what you think it is. And clearly you are missing certain pieces of the puzzle here. So can you just be open? No, nobody says you have to do anything with it that doesn't feel right to you. That's, again, you know, it's that piece of how we can guard ourselves so much that we cut off opportunities from ourselves and actually very, you know, significant things that can take us on the next step on that road to activating our destiny. So the more you can kind of enter that spontaneous mindset right now, where you don't prejudge what something is or what it looks like, or even what's coming to meet you right now. But you can get a clue about what's coming to meet you by the type of thoughts you're holding. Because even if it's not that same person, that same situation, it'll be something that has a similar charge. You know what I'm saying? So whatever is approaching you, though, I will tell you this, it may involve a difficult decision, right? A decision like that the Lovers presents. Okay, so definitely there could be something involved in matters of the heart that you're having to choose one or the other. Okay, or it's one of two different paths. It's a choice that puts you at the crossroads. Okay, and there's also sharing something, speaking something, you know, coming forward with something that's very sensitive. 44 on the clock. All right. So do understand this too, that whoever is approaching you, whatever is coming to meet you, it's also in the same place. It's also had some difficult decisions. 44:11 on the clock. It took a lot to come to this place, to come towards you. All right. And there is something sensitive here that needs to be shared. All right. And you can learn a lot from it. And it's part of your destiny. Right? Even if it's not about going forward with this person, it's part of your destiny. And it was 44:22, 44:33. These are building blocks towards your destiny. So something really important is happening here. So I just want to do a shuffle through. We already had, you know, King of Clubs energy, could be a fire sign factoring in here, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Let's get some more information here. This could be who's taking the initiative. All right. Could be who's, something's come to light for them. We got a bunch of cards here. Come on now. We got some of them came out, you know, in the cross position though, and some upright. So let's look at this. Let's see the blocking influences, what's working for or against us. I'm going to look at this as a comprehensive whole. Okay, we got the 10 of diamonds, okay? That destiny in the shadow, okay? We can't even see a way to our destiny right now. We don't understand the way we've got ourselves worked up in knots, and we need to soften our gaze with the 8 of spades. All right. This is the seed of our disappointment, and it's what will continue to produce more disappointing experiences for us. It's a burden. It's a burden that keeps us in the dark. We don't need to be in the dark. We drop the burden. We move into a place of spontaneity and say, I don't know what this is exactly. I know what I've experienced of this situation thus far, okay? If it's something that you're reviewing that's coming back around, but I don't know what it is now. And you don't. You don't know what it is now because you never step in the same river twice. You just don't. You just don't. And if you think about it, anytime you've been on a repeat loop in like a negative relationship or a situation where it's just like the same thing over and over and over again, you went into it with the preconceived notion that it was going to be just like it was before, or you didn't listen to your intuition. And so the same thing has to be shown to you over and over again. You can't negate your power in this situation, okay? You betray yourself with the 5 of spades when you don't listen to what comes to light within you. This is why it's so important to stay in touch with what you're feeling. People give far too much power to others. You know, they want to control things, and especially when it's anything sensitive or emotional in nature. They want to control things. They want to control the narrative. You know, they want to have every detail nailed down. You can't. It defies the nature of reality. That right away goes against the harmony of the Tao. I mean, the Tao is chaos, is the creative force. You're just one element in an endless sea of elements that factors into how something plays out. Like, you have your power of your own personal, you know, frequency that you emit, how you show up, but so does everybody else. But you do have an effect on that. You do. And it's how you choose to show up. So if your intuition is firing off, if something doesn't feel right and you choose to ignore that, why you still blame that person? You made that choice. You knew what you were getting yourself into. Okay? All right. So there's this piece here about the personal accountability in that regard. All right. This is a block. This is what's blocking things from moving forward, is not understanding this piece, that you have a lot more power than you give yourself credit for. And you need to stop giving away so much power to other people by continually like blaming, focusing on what they did, whatever, or what's going to happen to them or whatever, you know, because be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. That's your focus. And so then this will come to meet you over and over and over again. So close, but no cigar, you know, that wish just out of grasp, that wish for personal fulfillment, you know, you see what I mean? You know, it's because of an unwillingness to leave behind these defenses, okay? And it was 49:22 on the clock, 13:22. So many blocks, so many blocks. I'm telling you, I have to just stick with it. I have to just stick with it. I'm going to do more recording this week, but I wanted to get this one out right away while it was still fresh in the consciousness. So, you know me, I hold my tongue when the blocks come in. 13 is a power number, okay? It's about really being in your power and not continually passing the buck on that by always blaming the other person, staying fixated on the other person and wondering how is the other person, you know, going to have their karma come back around. I mean, we're not even going to get into that, you know. You got to let your guard down, okay? Because if you're always standing at the ready for a fight, you're going to find a fight. What do you expect? What do you expect? If you are sitting here and you got a certain judgment of a person, and yet you're missing key bits of information, namely, this is somebody you haven't been in communication with for a while, you know, it's been on a timeout, it's been on a standstill, you've been separated, in some cases for years, whatever. You have your preconceived notion, you have your set way of seeing things. This person comes towards you and you're already like this. Well, I can't wait to see what he has to say, or I can't wait to hear her story. You know what I mean? What do you think they're going to approach you like when they see you, when they feel your energy? You're going to get, you know, you're going to get a turd sandwich. It ain't going to be so good. You know what I mean? You can't expect that you have no responsibility in the situation for how things turn out. So it's about you gaining a different perspective. Something wants to come into alignment for you on your path. Theory of 11. Something is coming in that is helping to bring you in alignment with your destiny. Your job is not to put a picture around it about what it's going to be like. I'll give an example. Let's say you got an ex coming towards you, okay? Oh, you think automatically this person's going to come towards you because it's all about you, rekindling things, or that they want to rekindle things with you or whatever. And that may not be the case at all. And they may be coming forward to share something with you or to have some kind of exchange that's really important, that gives you a key that sets you on the road to your destiny. Or they're meant to partner with you in a different way, or they're just here to give you a clue about something. So as long as you have a preconceived notion, you limit it. Or if they are there to reunite romantically, okay, you automatically think that they're the same person they were 10 years ago, or they're the same person they were even a year ago. You don't have to take them back. What's happening here is something is coming to meet you, and it's important that you greet it. But be mindful of how you're holding space, because that's how you'll greet it. And that actually creates your destiny. It's like that thing of making the subconscious conscious, so it doesn't, rule your life. And you say, oh, see, I told you so, fate. No, you created that because that's what you were expecting. So your whole demeanor, your whole energy signature registered with that. And that was the natural reaction. We magnetize things to us, all right? We magnetize things to us, and we can magnetize the same old experience again. We can betray ourselves again. Instead, even in a situation like that, where you got something that's like, oh, okay, yes, it's sensitive, okay? It requires a difficult decision. And this is a little dicey. But I know that I will make the right choice as long as I stay connected to my experience and I listen to my intuition and I do what feels right. It changes it. Rather than thinking of all the different ways you need to be prepared to defend yourself and what could happen, and thinking of arguments ahead of time. If you prepare for an argument and you think of all the things you'll say, then you're going to get an argument. So that's the energy coming through here, okay? What do we got here? All right. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so this could be somebody you partnered with before. We do have the King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, both in the shadow here, okay? We do see somebody's coming toward, this thing's trailing behind you. It hasn't gone anywhere yet, all right? Hasn't gone anywhere yet. It might come at you in a way you don't even expect. Look, you think you're trailing behind it. This is one of those things where it's like, no, look, it's the King of Diamonds. It looks like they're coming forward here. Isn't that funny? Okay. So this is like you're trying to step into this, all right? You want to step into this, but you're still trailing this shadow stuff behind you. So there's still something that remains to be done here. It's essential, and there's something you need to discover, right? Discover, learn, play, be open. Just be open. You might be surprised. King of Diamonds in the light, that's a positive energy, okay? Also, masculines, you got to believe that you have the ability to handle challenging situations in a more effective way than you did last time. If you felt like you were acting in the shadow, or if you feel like you have things that you're afraid, to step into because of some BS you told yourself or some insecurity. Like, this is really about understanding your value, And there's something here, it has its roots in the past that can teach you about that, all right? That may be what's coming towards you. What's coming towards you is an experience that teaches you your value, perhaps. Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, okay? What's coming towards you is an experience that maybe teaches you your value. That's a positive thing, even if it is dealing with shadow elements. Do you see? Okay. We got the 5 of diamonds coming into light with the 6 of spades coming into light. Good. Now we're cooking. You're moving away from that sense of lack. You're moving away from a sense of being abandoned because you're not going to abandon yourself. You respect yourself. You value yourself. And that's the defining point that changes everything. Okay, let's do a cut of the deck on this. Yep, we got the shadow here. King of Hearts. See, so much guarding around the heart, right? Guarding around the heart can create a lot of manipulative situations. Guarding around the heart can make you act out manipulatively because you're trying to protect yourself. And whenever we guard with the heart, whether we fear who's coming toward us or we fear coming toward another, when we do so, when we're guarded, automatically, right out the gate, the experience is spoiled because it's contrived. It's contrived and it's manipulative because it's always going to be focused on, well, how can I stay safe in this situation? There's no safe spaces in love, and there's no safe spaces in a true like meeting of souls. And this is what this is. This is some kind of soulmate connection coming in. So there's a need to take down the defenses. And yeah, other side of the deck, we got the 7 of clubs coming up in the shadow. Yeah, you could really destroy this opportunity by acting out too defensively, too aggressively, too harshly, because you have a preconceived notion of this experience, and that can block seeing a new way forward in this situation. So easy does it because it can lead to a really brutal separation here. That's the thing too. This is why if you do feel really impassioned and you feel like I want to charge forward real fast, if you're the one who's feeling very compelled to take an action, and yet the signs around you are really telling you it's not time for that, you feel like, forget it, I'm gonna make it happen. Nothing's gonna stop me. It's good to be determined, okay? Because the hexagram with the moving lines we have, it changes to hexagram 43. Determination. It's good to be determined, okay? But it's not so good to be so pushy that it then comes off in such a way that creates a distortion in what the experience was supposed to be, which can be, you know, coming off a little bit like needy, okay? It can create kind of like a needy vibe. And remember, you need to stay in your personal sense of power, your personal sense of being a self-fulfilling destiny, okay? You know what I'm saying? Really embody that alchemist energy right now. Let's see what we got here. What's an overarching theme for us? After the storm. All right? You're almost there. You're just coming out of the dark and about to step into the light.